Yo, what's good, everybody? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Johnny Finesse. Welcome back to the channel. And today we got another Jimmy Highroller video. If you're new to the channel and haven't subbed yet, hit that sub button. We want to 1,100 subscribers, so it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that sub button with the bell notifications, and don't forget to smash that like button too. You feel me? With that being said, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? This NBA player just did something nobody has ever done.
Every young athlete's dream is to make it to the pros. And as much as we hear about how rare it is to actually make it that far, this doesn't stop us from chasing that dream. But when people say your odds are slim, they're not lying. The odds of a basketball player making it to the NBA are about 1 in 3,333. The odds of a football player making it to the NFL are about 1 in 1,000.
Damn,
and the odds of a baseball player making it to the MLB are about 1 in 200.
That's crazy.
As rare
That's
as
light. That's mad light. The fuck? That's mad light.
For an athlete to make it to the big leagues, there have been dozens of athletes who have made it pro in not just one, but 2 sports. We've all heard of the legendary Bo Jackson that was an all-star in both the MLB and the NFL. Deion Sanders was not only a dual sport pro athlete, he is the only player to ever play in a Super Bowl and a World Series. Dave Logan, a name that you've probably never even heard of, was one of just 3 players ever to be drafted by the MLB, NFL, and NBA. In 2004, ESPN named Baseball Hall of Famer Dave Winfield as the 3rd best all-around athlete of all time in any sport. And I'd say this title was well deserved, considering Dave was drafted by the MLB, NBA, NFL, and ABA. Good job, Dave. Before
he even like what did he say?
BA, NFL.
He never even played football. LOL. Oh, so it's just 2. So he got picked up but never got played. But that's still crazy.
And ABA. Good job, Dave. Before sending a promising Celtics roster into oblivion, Danny Ainge was once known as a multi-sport legend, playing in.
But to be honest, most of the time it's about who you know. Like when it's all said and done, it's about who you know. Like. If like you see how Michael Jordan went from there to baseball, at that point it was about who he know and who he was. Like, you feel me? Like
both the MLB
most people
and NBA. But if you dive into the history,
you could tell by that picture that we seen, bro. Which one?
NFL and NBA, just all around. Considering
like this one right here, bro. Boom. All of them are in different times. This one is probably like the first one because he looks the youngest here. This one is the second one. He's probably mad nice here. He gained connections and now he's over here. Like, you feel me?
Good job, Dave. Before sending a promising Celtics roster into oblivion, Danny Ainge was once known as a multi-sport legend, playing in both the MLB and NBA. But if you dive into the history of athletes that played in 2 pro sports leagues,
Michael Jordan didn't go to the ML. Oh yeah, he was playing AAAs, but that should still count for something though. You know what I'm saying? But fuck it.
You'll quickly notice that most of them played in the MLB and the NFL. Very rarely do athletes play in both the NBA and MLB, and almost
because the NBA is the most skilled out of all of these, bro. The NBA is the most skilled. Like, you need a combination of fitness and being skilled. You feel me? NFL, if you're a freak athlete, bro, you can play NFL, bro. You could play that shit, bro. You could play linebacker. If you're a super freak athlete, you could play linebacker. You could probably play safety. Like,
never has an athlete played in the NFL.
Baseball is really you don't need to be athletic to play baseball. Like, mad at them niggas is not athletic, bro.
In NBA, right? This is truly the rarest feat in American sports. But there was that one time when Football Hall of Famer Ahmad Rashad was signed to a 1-game contract with the 76ers back in 1990. This actually happened, and Ahmad actually suited up and played a game in the NBA against the Timberwolves. Ahmad was retired from the NFL at this point, and let's just say the 76ers didn't sign the 41-year-old football legend for his basketball squad.
I love too that you just came in. It's your first time in the game and he went straight to you and put a bucket on you.
If he really wants to impress the coaches and everything, he just drop it down low to me.
Oh, Charles, I'm sorry.
He's just having fun out there. See, that's the connection part that I'm talking about. You see how shitty he is? You see how shitty he is, bro?
However, Ahmad is the only player in NBA history to finish his career with a 100% shooting percentage.
That's fire.
My guy actually pulled up from 20 feet and knocked down his one and only attempt from the field. Now there's a record that will never be broken. But this is the extent of NFL players suiting up in the NBA. The skills required to play pro basketball are almost in opposition to the skills required to play pro football. Basketball and football just don't mix well, except when DraftKings sponsors this channel.
And then I'm out of here because I don't even get paid for this shit, man.
And prizes NFL, there have only been 2 athletes to play in both leagues. Otto Graham, who played for the Royals in the NBA, now known as the Kings, and the Browns in the NFL. The other athlete to pull off this feat was Bud Grant, who played for the Lakers in the NBA and the Eagles in the NFL. But you'll probably notice that both Bud and Otto's pictures look like they were taken before Wilt Chamberlain even touched a basketball. And that's because
There's no
they weren't.
skill.
Both Otto and Bud played in the NBA and NFL in the 40s and early 50s, which, according to my calculations, was a long time ago. And for over 70 years, no other athlete has played in both the NFL and NBA. In terms of sports, it's probably the closest thing to impossible. Until Mark Vidal happened. Growing up in Louisiana, it didn't take long for Mark to realize he was an incredible athlete. Nearly a decade ago, Mark was dubbed middle school basketball's most impressive dunker, which sounds like a reach, until you see this clip of Mark when he was in 8th grade. Now, Mark's raw athleticism was always his biggest ally and an attribute that would eventually lead him to accomplish something that no one has done in our lifetime. By the end of middle school, Mark was considered by many to be one of the best 8th grade players in the country. It was at this point that Mark stopped playing football to focus on hoops. And throughout his high school career, Mark rose to be one of the best prep players in the country, playing alongside future NBA player Terrence Ferguson and ending his high school career as the 71st top recruit in the country. By the end of his senior season, Mark signed with Baylor University and just last season became a Baylor legend by winning an NCAA national championship. But in the following year, Mark had to make the hardest but inevitably most rewarding decision of his life. After going undrafted in the 2021 NBA draft, Mark would get picked up by the Blazers to play in the NBA Summer League. But after playing just 3 games with the Blazers and contributing 1 point and 4 rebounds per game, Mark did the unthinkable.
Former Baylor basketball standout Mark Vidal has a new career path. Yes, today he signed with the Seattle Seahawks of the National Football League. Vidal's summer has been incredibly fascinating. Let's recap. After winning a title with Baylor in April, he played in the NBA Summer League for the Portland Trail Blazers. The last time he played football, according to ESPN, middle school, looking to turn Scott Drew's locker room into tight end youth.
On September 2nd, 2021, Mark Vidal signed a contract with the Seahawks.
But he got the body for it. That's what really makes it like he has the body.
Seahawks, becoming the first athlete
and because he's
72.
And on top of that too, he's gonna be nimble because he's been playing basketball. You're gonna be nimble. You have that skill, that footwork off the rip.
Years to sign a contract and suit up in the NBA and NFL. And quite possibly the craziest part, Mark hasn't played football since he was 13 years old. But when you look at his 6'5", 250-pound frame,
you can't
start
give that
to wonder
up.
Why Mark didn't play football sooner. If you didn't know any better, you would think that Baylor's starting tight end snuck onto Baylor's basketball team to get some shots up. The Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll has personally said that although the transition from a pro basketball player to a pro football player is unlikely for most athletes, Mark possesses all the physical and mental tools to pull it off, making Vidal's chances of a career in the NFL look more and more likely every day. But Mark isn't the first player to attempt this transition. NBA legend John Havlicek once completed a brief stint at a Browns training camp after being drafted by the organization in the 7th round of the 1962 NFL Draft. But it didn't take long for John to leave the field and commit all the way to basketball. Back in 2016, a 32-year-old Nate Robinson tried out for the Seahawks but didn't make the team. And this really puts things into perspective. Nate Robinson is one of the best raw athletes the NBA has ever seen. And he was a former football player and starter at the University of Washington. In fact, Robinson initially enrolled at Washington on a football scholarship. And still, with all that athleticism and football experience, Robinson couldn't even make the practice squad. Three-time NBA champion Draymond Green tried his hand at football while at Michigan State.
That's crazy.
But
he got jammed up.
So well. There
Ah,
have also been NFL players that would have had a slightly realistic shot at playing in the NBA at some capacity. Before playing in the NFL, Darren Fells spent several seasons playing professional basketball overseas, averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds per game one season as a starter in a top-tier league in Finland. Antonio Gates is widely known as an NFL player who would have had a shot at the NBA after averaging 20 and 8 a game at Kent State and leading the team to an Elite 8 appearance in the NCAA tournament. There was also a player named Rico Gathers, who could have played in the NBA and NFL. While in college, Rico was a standout basketball player at, believe it or not, Baylor. Scouts and coaches saw football potential in Rico despite him not playing football since he was 13. Gathers was born and raised in Louisiana, and after going undrafted in the NBA draft and having virtually no experience in football, was signed to the Dallas Cowboys as a tight end. Pretty crazy, right?
That is crazy.
I wish I was making this up, but it's true. Unbelievably and
they got football bodies, that's why.
Oh, and that last name, Gathers, it sounds familiar, right? And that's because it is. But of course, there's also been a few NBA players that come to mind when considering their chances of making an NFL roster. There are players who undoubtedly had the size, experience, and skill set to pull it off. But only Mark Vidal actually did. A man that earned his merit as an elite basketball player, national champion, and NBA hopeful, ironically may make history by leaving the basketball court. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
That shit is pain how you could just switch things like that. Like, that's really pain. But if you're new to the channel and have a subject and made it to the end of the video, hit that sub button, y'all. We are on the road to 1,100 subs, y'all. Like, for real, I love each and every one of y'all. With that being said, it's your boy Johnny Finesse, and I'ma holla at you.